And yeah, super pumped to be here. A few things that I like to just kind of get out of the way before we start. First off, thank you guys for being here. None of this would be possible without you guys, our community. Whether you're from wedding film school, just a wedding filmmaker in general, somebody I know personally, who knows? You guys are here, so thank you for that. This is always a blast. Pretty laid back. We've got 3 or 4 films for you tonight. Always a fun time. Just go into some critiques. I think we can all learn. That brings me to my next point. This is a community thing. Like, the whole point of this is just to build that community. So I'm going to be sharing, my thoughts. You guys are going to see Jason in the chats, giving some of his thoughts as well. But we want to hear from you guys too. So if there are things that you guys see where you're like, oh, I would have done this differently, or I really love that shot or whatever, like, build each other up. Give each other constructive criticism. Like, this is not the Bobby show. This is not even the Wedding Film School show, because we have a Wedding Film School show, our podcast, our weekly podcast. You guys should tune into that. So many thanks to you guys. If you are not subscribers to this channel, I definitely recommend subscribing. We've got tons of content coming out on this channel for wedding filmmakers. Next up, many thanks to the YOLO Box. Well, actually, YoloLive. They are the creators of the YOLO Box. And this is an awesome little device. We'll dive more into it about halfway through the show. But this is an all-in-one solution for streaming, for switching. So this is by far the best solution if you are trying to kind of dial in a small rig for your live streaming setup at weddings. I wouldn't recommend doing it as a one-man band ever, but my goodness, if you were to do it as a one-man band, this would be the best tool for that. I still recommend having another person, but you can check out the YOLO Box. We're going to link it. I'm going to link it quick because I had it pasted, but if Jason is here, oh, you don't want that. Let me go ahead and delete that. Jason can go ahead and post it for you. We've got a link for you guys to check them out. Yeah, they're an awesome company, do some really cool stuff, and they're always updating it and whatnot as well. A couple last things here. First off, while we chat, I'm going to grab my beer. I always recommend grab a drink. Come hang out. That's what this is for. So, got a nice, it's called Jungo Juice from the Brewing Project. Highly recommend. I'm going to go ahead and pour that here and keep it off to the side. And then the very last thing, guys, that I want to say before we jump in, we've got actually 4 films. So, I might have said 3 before. Very last thing that I want to say to you guys before we dive in is we also have our membership. So, there's some really awesome benefits of our membership. So that's not just a YouTube subscriber or a member in our Wedding Film School Facebook group, but you can actually have a paid membership. It starts at just $5 a month. Actually, it's $4.99. And you get some benefits with that. One of the biggest of which is priority in these live film reviews. So if you want, it's not a guarantee, but if you want to kind of bump yourself up to the top of that line, you can become a member. Just hit that little join button down below. So, without further ado, I'm going to be doing my reviews the way that I like to do them. I have not watched these films. I just think it's more fun that way. I know Jason and Jared sometimes like to watch the films, so we do it differently here and there. But I have not watched these, but I'm convinced we're gonna have 4 solid films for you guys today. So first up here, our film is from Focus Journey Media. I just want to read the notes. We always ask you guys for notes. If you are looking to submit, we've got the link pinned to the top. But we always like having notes from you guys, and then we also, of course, want your music that you license, because we do need that. So everybody did a great job with that this week. So the only notes I got on this is you were shooting Canon. So it looks like a 1DX Mark III and a 5D Mark IV. And again, this is from Focus Journey Media, which is David Wynn. Bring this back over here. Let's get this going. And guys, I think we've got everything rolling here, but if you happen to not hear sound or something like that, let me know in the comments. All right. Let's go into it. So I'm going to be commenting as we go here. I'm getting some lag. That's on me. I'm gonna pause that here. I love. Okay, so I will say, your intro with your logo. One, I'm curious. Is that all? Like, is that shots from this wedding only? I kind of hope it is. It seemed, I don't know, like, I really like it. But it maybe seemed long to me, but maybe, I don't know if that's like, I think it will fit this. It seems like this kind of slow vibe or something. So I think it fits this. I don't know what all your films are like. I don't know if that's something you always do. I thought it was cool. I really, really, really like this shot. Actually, here we go. We're in 4K. Sorry, I'm going to bring this down to 1080 just for the sake of you all, because we've got a whole lot going through my internet right now. I like this shot. I can already tell I'm just going to love your colors. This is, yeah. Also, this is a Yosemite elopement, so I like that. Dang.
Joey.
Your scene setting there is just like killer. You did a really, really good job with that. Obviously, you're in Yosemite, so that certainly helps. I mean, hard to beat a place like that, but captured it really well. I really like how you took the first 30 seconds, or what are we at, 41 seconds, but you had your logo, so let's call it 30 seconds. Took that to really set the scene. Yeah, that was really, really well done. I like little intros like that.
I can't believe we are standing here today in one of the most beautiful locations, celebrating our love and new journey together as husband and wife. It all feels like a dream, and I have to keep...
If you are here, I want to know, did you mic up the bride? Because that audio sounds really clean. I didn't look. I'll pause it on the next frame to see. But I like your prep shots here. You have some nice dynamic lighting.
reminding myself that this is real,
really
and we get to live our happily ever after. It is difficult to find the right words that show my love for you, but I want you to know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a mic. I didn't really expect to. I imagine if you did put one in there, you probably hit it. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, I don't see in the chat here, but yeah, if you do pop in the chat, I want to know if you use that just from the groom or
Know that you have my whole heart, and I am so grateful to have you as my husband and best friend for life. We have now known each other for 6.
Okay, so this is interesting. This looks like I don't know if you did this the day before, day after or something like this. This is another session, black and white. So I kind of do like the use of black and white. I'm not always a fan. I don't think I'm personally a fan for my brand, but I think it can totally work, and I think it works here because this looks like some other shoot that you did with them.
Years, and it makes me...
I will say, so right here you have 3 shots in a row. I'm just gonna back it up here. So you have this shot, which is like shoulder up or right around the shoulder up.
Now known each other for 6
That shot, shoulder up.
years, and it makes me...
That shot, shoulder up.
So happy to look...
That shot is shoulder up, but it's a little bit different. So I would have let's see what else you have here going, but you have this close to the hands. Yeah, maybe, I don't know obviously about this part of the shoot, but it might have been nice to get a little more variety, maybe even get something wide or just get something medium, like that's not a close-up, or get an extreme close-up or something. Just a few, like that, the hand shot that we're going to come up on here, which is going to be right
back on
here. Like having those to cut to, and this is a really awesome shot, I think can be really nice because you just don't want that same shot like 3 or 4 times in a row.
all the memories and experience that we have shared. We have grown up together from college freshmen to young adults chasing their dreams and exploring the world together. But more importantly...
That's a beautiful shot. Yeah, and the color. I don't know if these people were with them or just, innocent bystanders who got caught. I want to go back just to this right here. So I expected.
And best friend for life.
So you fade to black,
We have
and you use that to go to this, whether it's engagement or day of or day before or day after or whatever type session. I don't know if I love the fade to black there. That makes me think that you're moving on to something else, which visually you are, but you're still staying with her vows. Yeah, I don't really have a suggestion. It's not bad or anything like that. I just you're sticking on her vows.
Together from college freshmen to young adults chasing their dreams and exploring the world together. But more importantly, our love has grown and our commitment to each other continues to deepen. Through the highs and lows in life
That's looking a little like maybe it slowed down a little far, but my guess is that's maybe YouTube.
We will encounter. I promise to always stand beside you, to love and support you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not just the tools, it's the filmmaker as well, but you really are nailing, I love, this is bright light, they're in some shadow, but just everything just looks really good.
Through the most challenging moments.
That's an awesome shot.
And to laugh and cherish new adventures and the small joys in life with you.
I don't love that shot there. I think you maybe just tried to do a little bit too much. That rack focus is
adventures and the small joys in life.
How close you are, and it looks like you might even be handheld. I would have loved to see just this, right? Because you had a shot kind of like that you opened up with their name at the very beginning. And I would love to just see one or two shots more like this to kind of set the scene again. Because the other thing too is
adventures
at the
and
beginning
the
of this
joys.
shot, where's your focus? Some dead brush on the ground. I don't know. Obviously, look, total transparency. When we get a really good film, which so far I think this is a really good film, we have to get really picky, right? So that does not destroy the film or anything like that. But yeah, if I'm getting picky, I would maybe change that. Or if you had a static shot, or if you had a couple more Yosemite shots that you could throw in there.
In life.
Also, guys, real quick, we just broke, 20, 25 people here. Throw something in the chat. I just want to make sure, because I'm not seeing any updates coming my way. I see only stuff from us. So let me know where you're watching from tonight. That would be a huge help. I just want to see a few people post something up in there so I can at least make sure that our chat is working. I know Jason's monitoring it, but yeah. So let me know where you're watching from. Where are you located?
With you. Joey, I love you unconditionally and without hesitation. I am so excited to build our lives.
All right, wait. I got to go back here.
I love you unconditionally and without hesitation. I am so excited to build our lives together, filled with
So I would maybe, this is getting really nitpicky again, but this is kind of that 180-degree line. And it's kind of crossed here. And the only reason that I know this is so this shot so bride's on the right. To this shot, she's on the left of the groom. Now, I know that this actually, from context clues, this looks like this was the same place where you're doing the shot walking on the road. But because they're standing in such the same way and holding hands, it takes me out a little bit. That's getting pretty nitpicky because I think that, this totally works. But I think it just might be the way that they were cut. Maybe if you could have thrown, one thing in between.
Together, filled with learning, laughter, and love. Today, and
I would have liked to see that ring shot for a little bit longer. It's a nice, I think he just threw it on, that's not a napkin. I don't know what that is, but
love.
I'm very impressed with your ring shot. Very good job. I think the ring shot is very important. It is one of my favorite parts of the day. One of my favorite things to shoot, at least, just because you have so much control. I think you did a really good job. I like the colors. I like that it's almost monotone without being monotone. You nailed the focus. You've got some nice dynamic lighting where you're hitting some diamonds here, you're hitting some of this diamond, you got some shine, here and here, but it's not like you blew the whole thing up with light or that it's super dark and you can't see anything. So, yeah.
Today and all of the days that follow.
Like this fade to black makes sense because I imagine, yeah,
Okay.
you're in the groom. So this is like, I love this film. This is just like the like epitome of an elopement film, right? Like it's very simple, but it's very beautiful, and it just works so well. And she had great vows, and I imagine his vows are going to be good too. They've got good chemistry. You got some awesome shots, really good setting. Like you're just killing it with this. I really, really like it.
Okay. All right.
I like that reaction a lot.
Dear Amelia, I feel like we have been waiting for this day
Nice, there's
forever.
light again.
I know it's not what we thought it was going to be, but it still feels like what we dreamed it to be. Finally, I can say you are my wife. You are talented, joyful,
That's a cool
and the
shot.
sweetest person that I know.
Little bridal session. I like, well, sorry, we're going to this fade to white. I really like this. I love intentional or intentionally out of focus shots. I think they can be, when they are intentional, you're not racking focus and you don't see that you're on autofocus and searching or something like that. This is just a really powerful shot. It's just a really creative shot for me. Yeah, I just really love, I know this is like, what, a mountain in the background. You can see a little bit. This is like in focus. I just really, really like this shot. I think it's cool. I think it takes the right person to do, the right film to put it into, but it works really well here.
You have made me unbelievably happy the
So
past
this is more
6
of that.
years through my
Okay, so this is the proposal. Okay, very cool.
sleeveless jackets, black t-shirts,
And I'm curious if the black and white was, if you didn't shoot that maybe, and black and white was a choice to get around footage that maybe wasn't where you wanted it to be or something like that. But yeah, I wish you were in chat right now. If you are, let me know some of this
and
stuff.
terrible
Don't think you
restaurant
are.
pics. How lucky was I to have somebody to love me through it all.
Drone
I vow to
footage.
make you happy. I vow to make you laugh and to always be there for you. I vow to choose you today, tomorrow, and
I love that shot of the rings. Just look at that like light on that.
choose you today, tomorrow,
I just love that. Yeah, it's really beautiful.
and forever. You will always be the first person I want to see in the morning and the last at night. I look forward to loving and cherishing the smallest
Look
of
at that
moments
first look,
together.
it looks like.
And as gorgeous as you are right now, I know I will only love you more and more each day. Forever your husband, Joey Graham.
That's like a really, I like that you end on this, right? So he finishes his vows and you just let it sit for the kiss. That's like a very like raw moment.
No big deal.
All right, we did it.
Congratulations, everyone!
So what is, something seems off with this. I don't think you're here, so I'm not going to dive into too much. I don't know if it's your focus or not. I like this. Don't like that cut, though. Oh, I'm a stickler on jump cuts. So right here to right there. Ooh, I would have loved to just have you stick on one of those shots. The killer, that's the killer Yosemite shot right there. Take him out to the point where the sun's set. Ooh. Did you protect your camera, or were you far away? I want to know how you got the champagne shot of Awesome ending shot. I don't know if you kicked picked up that dirt or if it was just kind of flying or whatever. Yeah, that last sequence was awesome. Let me jump back to just me here. Yeah, I really, really, really loved that last sequence. I love the whole film. This was incredibly well done. That last sequence, though, it's cool to see people when they kind of maybe get out of their comfort zone a little bit, stretch their legs creatively. I mean, I don't know your other work, but, the first, what was this, 4:53? So the first 4 minutes or something, right? They were still a little out of the box because it is an elopement. There's not many people there, and you clearly had freedom to do what you wanted and go where you wanted, and you mixed in some proposal stuff and whatever. But that last maybe 30 to 50 seconds, that was a little more upbeat. That was just really cool to see because I think, especially in an elopement film, you can really take those risks and you can really, stretch your legs and see what you want to be and what you want to be making, because you have so much freedom in that, and because there aren't all these traditions that you need to stick to or all these traditions that you need to include or anything like that. So I really like that. All right, so I've got my little notes here because we like to rank things in 4 categories. Not rank, sorry. We like to just kind of throw this into 4 categories and give you not even a grade, but just talk about it. So the story, I thought you did a really, really good job with that. I think Jason said it up here. Somebody said it in comments where vows are so key in an elopement. So I do think that, I don't know whether you did it or you just lucked out because they were awesome or whatever, but that goes into educating your clients. If I have an elopement and they love my films, and my films obviously include a lot of audio and whatever, I'm going to talk to them about, hey, are you writing letters? Are you writing your own vows? Because it's going to be hard for me to make a film like what I make if they aren't doing any of that stuff. So I never want to force anything on anybody. So I'd be curious to know, if you, sorry guys, this was 4 minutes and 57 seconds. So I'd be curious to know, if you had to talk with them about those vows, because they were killer. And then you just put it together really well. So awesome job on the story. The editing, killer. Again, you're going to just get killer across the board, basically. Really, really good job on the editing. I really, really liked that last sequence. There were a couple of small things in there that I pointed out that I maybe would have changed, but that's getting pretty small. Your color grade was I really, really liked it. Good job on that. Cinematography, again, awesome job. Loved it. I thought you nailed it. I think there was one shot where I was I don't know if this is out of focus or something like that, but you clearly know what you're doing. You did an awesome job with the use of the light, both indoor and outdoor. Really, really good job. And then sound, I don't know if that's an official category. Hey, Jason, is that an official category? Let me know. But as far as sound goes, really, really good job. That was really clean audio. I think Jason said it really well there. Less is more. And in an elopement, less is totally more. And you didn't you got just amazing, solid, well-composed, well-exposed, well-graded shots. And there's some movement, there's some gimbal and whatever, but you just really nailed it. So again, that was, just to let you guys know, that was Focused Journey Media, and that was David Wynn. Sweet. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get the next film queued up here. Very good job, David. I really enjoyed that wedding film. The next one we've got, let me make sure, I got to make sure it's in 1080 and not 4K, because my internet will be mad at me. So we've got another one coming up here. Real quick before we do that, Jason's going to hit you with a link here, but if you guys are interested, one of the things that we just released at Wedding Film School is our coaching sessions. So you can basically get a session, I believe they're 90 minutes, correct me if I am wrong on that, one-on-one coaching for you, and we will cover any topic that you want with you. So whether that's you want to dive into your pricing, you want to, go into a film like this and dive into what you could do better, what you could change, what we think, or just business structure, or you're just starting out, whatever that might be. We're trying to keep it pretty affordable for you guys and give you guys our time, give back to this community. So Jason will hit you with the link in the chat if you're interested in that. Let me queue up our next film. This next one is from Jonathan Perkins, who you guys probably know. You might see him around on different groups. Let me just get any notes that we have here. I just want to make sure I read them. Oh, Jonathan, I will say, I think that you might hold the record for the amount of songs that I had to add to a license in order to play this. I think there was like 8 or 9 songs. Granted, I know there was like instrumental and vocal for a lot of them, but you hold the title. I will let you know if that ever gets broken. So this was a destination wedding, you said. You were shooting almost entirely handheld with the Panasonic S1 as a one-man band, and that you did not take creative direction from the couple. You did your own thing. I really love hearing that. I think that is something that can be really hard to do, especially if, you know, asking the couple for input has been part of your process. But I imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, but I imagine, you know, in hindsight coming through this, you were really thankful that you did that, because I think that could be a really good way to figure out what you want. And you mentioned incorporating some, I think this is fake Super 8, but with the, you know, the idea to incorporate real Super 8 footage, possibly later in this year. So we're going to check that out. Thank you so much for submitting. And pull this, make it full screen. I've got like 4,000 things running through my computer. And so sometimes it lags for me a little, and then it's hard to see. All right, let's go here, and we'll dive in. I like the wind, I like the noise. I like the title there. I like that intro sequence. 14 seconds. Yeah, I think I was trying to think. I was like, maybe that, like, the only thing is that, like, film, the like click over and over and over. I would maybe start it louder and maybe bring it down a little bit, because you have other sound design there that I really, really like. But I do really love your, like, this little sequence with their names under. I think that's really cool.
Can we turn around?
Some nice natural
Yeah.
audio. I like starting out on that. That's an emotional part of the day. They clearly had a good reaction, a lot of anticipation for that. So I think that's a good place to start. Obviously, I haven't seen the rest of this, but
A couple years
sunset
ago, Brooke and
footage.
Andy met at our cousin's wedding reception. Andy asked Brooke to dance, and they danced and laughed the rest of the evening, and we all watched. Andy even danced with the kids and twirled the girls, which
So
won
like
their
this,
hearts.
You're talking right about dancing. It's part of their story. You got some dancing footage.
On our way home that night, the girls said they thought he was the one. When we asked them why, they said because he danced with us. A week later, Brooke and Andy went on a date. He dropped her off at our house afterwards, and when she came in the front door, I could tell she was love struck.
You look so good. Like me, Jeff?
I do, I love it.
Oh, I miss
Don't
you all
love
day.
Looks like you're on autofocus, maybe.
Oh, I
Maybe you're
miss you
manual, I
all
don't know. I
day.
don't love there was a rack focus just to start that shot. I think you could have started a hair later.
You do.
She was all smiles, and the very first thing she said was, "We're getting married."
This I would maybe fade. This was like a hard cut to black, and then you sit on it for a second. It kind of like, my gut reaction right there was like, oh shoot, is there like a shot missing?
Getting married.
And then, I'd fade that back in too. Really like that. I like how the wind's kind of playing with their hair a little bit. All right, mix it up with some transitions.
Andy, I've been praying for you since I was young.
Don't love that it's not a transition, but
Praying for you
I think this shot is just too similar. And this one you're moving really
Since I
slow,
was
and then
young.
this one you're moving a lot faster, or maybe just because you're closer. Yeah, I'd maybe let one of those shots, I'd maybe let that first shot breathe a little bit more.
young. You're even better than what I prayed for.
And I just, when you're that close in your handheld, that's just really hard to do. Like, you can see Like this.
Andy,
Sorry.
I've been praying for you
This shot handheld, I feel like it works. It's minimal motion. It's slow.
since I was
This
young.
one's just too. You're just too close, I think, to do handheld.
You're even better than what I prayed for.
Yeah.
When I
I like that you're doing this though, where you kind of introed with that reaction of them seeing each other, and now you're kind of like bringing it back, right, to that anticipation. They're reading.
reflect on our
lyrics.
relationship, it usually brings me to tears. We aren't even close to being the same people that we were the night that you asked me to dance with you.
Brooklyn K, we made it.
So
Our
I
day
kinda
is
like
finally
your,
here.
Like your B-roll there, right? So you've got kind of this underlying story right now, but your B-roll is like kind of like quicker cuts with a slower song, but I think it works really well. I think it's kind of cool. I think that can be hard to do.
The day I've been dreaming of for a very long time. We met.
So this is where I think like, you know, okay, you were on handheld. I don't know if that's by choice. I don't know, you know, whatever. But there are some shortcomings of handheld. I know that Panasonic is like top notch when it comes to image stabilization in body.
Been
but
dreaming
like,
of for a
the
very
end
long
of
time.
This tie shot coming up.
We met.
There's just, it's that little jitter where like, I think you either need to embrace a little bit of that like handheld movement. Like, I guess here's a better way to say it. I feel like you are trying to get a gimbal shot without a gimbal, and that's not what handheld is. It's very nitpicky. It's also like specifically something that like my eye just like, you know, laser beams for, and that's not going to annoy that many people, and I'm sure your clients are not annoyed by it or don't even notice it. But yeah, I think that can be something with handheld, and I'm even learning that too, like handheld being like somewhat newer for me. It's not something I introduced that long ago, where like you got to just like take, you know, the rig you're on or whatever and really lean into that rig and not like try to make it be something else. I mean, it's the same thing as like, oh, you're on a, like you see people on a monopod and they like run around and try to get like glide cam shots with it. And it's like, well, like, yeah, technically there's some weight on the bottom and it's better than just like holding the camera, but like that's not the same thing.
When we needed each other the most. I know it was God's plan for me to ask you to dance, because I could never dance.
Ooh, I like that shot. That's cool. I always love a good silhouette. Prep is a good place to do it, but I like all the lines.
But our journey is just getting started. We have a lifetime of love, laughs, and memories to make. And God,
I like your you're definitely, I mean, I think I have seen some of your work before. I couldn't tell you what or when, but I can definitely tell that I think you're like experimenting here with some of those transitions, and you're putting in some sound too, like I think it's the like film, like the advance lever. I can't think of the word, but something like that. I really like that. I think it is cool, and it doesn't feel, at least right now, we'll wait till I get to the end, but it doesn't feel overused or anything like that. And I think it's a cool, like, it's a cool way to test out some creativity or something new for you, while not like, you're not like really, really changing the core of your films. Like this is still like just like it's not like a super out of the box wedding film where like the couple might not like it, right? Something like that. Yeah.
God couldn't have given me a more beautiful woman to make them with. He knew exactly what
This is cool. I like this. I don't care what anybody says.
I needed when he
Double
gave me you.
exposure. I wish actually that it didn't cut out there. I wish you maybe went on to a different shot there.
There's been exponential growth that could only be the Lord's hand in our relationship. After our first date, I had an overwhelming sense of peace.
Nice.
You felt like home. I remember telling my friends and family, I know that I know that I
There's some,
know
like, wave
that I
noises
know
in the background.
I will marry him.
This seemed like a pretty similar shot, not this.
I
that
will marry him.
That, basically the same shot. One is laughing, one is looking at the camera. They're both really good shots. I would absolutely use both of them, but I would put something in between them.
Through this moment, we celebrate and reflect on their love for one another, because love is worthy of celebrating. You see, there's nothing sweeter than love, nothing more courageous than love, nothing higher than love. There's nothing
All right, so
wider
you're trying
than
out some more things. Looks like they're in the shade here during sunset. His skin is looking pretty red. Minor.
Nothing wider than love. There is nothing more pleasant than love. Nothing fuller, nothing better in heaven or on earth, because love is born of God and can rest only in Him.
Reaction shot.
It is above all things
Looks like there might have been a little bit of wobble in there.
created, and love is the reason why we are here.
All right, that. I know you're in chat. I want to hear your thought behind this. Like, did you go into this shot and you're like, I want to like be handheld and start down at the bricks and come up to you guys? Were you like, I might whip into this from something else and you just didn't do it? Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on that. Like, this shot to me doesn't fit in with your other shots. It could fit into a wedding film for sure. It could fit into a wedding film like, you know, I don't know who does, like, you know, Henry Martins, right? Did I say Bartons with a B? Martins with an M. Does lots of whip transitions, stuff like that. And this could totally fit in something like that. Yeah, I'm just curious what your thought was on that. Not that there's anything like wrong. It just like feels a little bit.
Great at everything I'm not. You inspire me every day to be a better person. You open my eyes to so many things I could never see on my own. Thank you for accepting me for who I am, encouraging me to pursue my dreams, and show me grace when I get off track. I fall more in love with you every time I see your beautiful white smile, see you dancing around the house.
No, is that jump cut? We're going 2 for 2 on
beautiful
jump
white
cuts,
smile.
boys.
See you dancing.
Yep. All right. It doesn't not work. It's just like, it's just the same shot, and you're like 10 seconds later in the shot, and you're moving from in focus, right? You're focused right on
Beautiful
her eye,
white smile.
to out of focus. So again, I would put something in between. Like, I would totally use both those shots, and this is probably going to come in focus, I assume. But like, I would totally use both those shots.
See you dancing around the house, and your charming personality lights up the room the minute you walk in. I promise to love and support you through everything life throws at us. I look forward to the journeys we have ahead, starting a family with you and loving you for eternity. Yours
That again, his skin's just looking a little
forever, Andy Gill.
and it looks like there's some movement.
Yours forever, Andy Gill.
Nice dog. Speaking of a dog, here's my dog. She's been on my lap this whole time because she will cry and whine and bark if she is not. This is Kodak, everybody. Kodak, everybody. Perfect. All right, moving on.
Andy and Brooke.
So this is another example right here. We're at 401, the wedding party. I like it, Jonathan. I think there is a third jump cut. You might be right. I will point it out for you. Yeah, so this is another example of what I was talking about before. Like, you know, I totally get it. You do you. It's a wedding day. You want to experiment. You want to, like, you're a one-man band. You're, like, handheld. I don't know if you don't have a gimbal or you didn't bring one or whatever, but I just wouldn't try to emulate a gimbal when you don't have it, when you're not on a gimbal, is basically how I would say that. You know, it's not my style. I'm picky about that. I don't want to say it's, like, bad, because it's not, right? It's, like, still, it's not, like, way all over the place as far as shakiness. It's still well exposed. You got some good reactions.
Stated your intentions before these many witnesses and pledged your lives together before God and sealed those vows with the symbol of rings by the authority given to me by our Lord Jesus Christ. I now pronounce you husband and wife.
Same idea, gimbal. And the reason why on this one, look, you start,
Lord
like,
Jesus Christ.
your horizon's off, right? So you're shifted. I don't know how you guys are going to see this. Let's see. When I'm looking at it, you're shifted to the right.
I'll pronounce you husband.
And then it slowly, like, rotates, but that's not like an intentional rotation, you know?
Andy, you push your left. Ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you Mr.
How long of a lens are you on? Because you said this is handheld. It looks like you're manually focusing too. Are you like right there with like a 35, or are you like on a long lens? And if so, the longer the lens, man, the more impressed I am with handheld. And also, what's your rig like? I'd be curious about that. Like, when you say I'm shooting handheld, are you like, I've got my camera and maybe a camera strap, or are you using like, I know I put out a video on my like handheld rig. Like, do you have this thing like rigged out a little bit? Let me know in the comments. Don't like that zoom. I really like that shot. That's a lot of like that like raw emotion. That's actually really hard to like do in a wedding. Yeah. Oh, I really like that transition. I like this because you used it earlier and you're going back to it, and it was seamless. I also think that when you are, so like when we're talking, so this shot right here, right? We're talking about, you know, I've been kind of on you a little bit about using handheld instead of a gimbal and trying to do gimbal shots. But when you do disguise it, not disguise, that's not the right word, but when you throw it in this like 8mm, you know, filter or whatever, like that is that style. And so then it works for that, and it works really, really well. Something to think about. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot more like, I mean, this is like, you know, industry secret here, right? When you do like the 8mm or 16mm or whatever, like the film, old school film emulation look, like there's a lot more forgiveness that comes with that, and that can be really cool. It's almost like, you know, like, look, I'm a photographer, plenty of you do photo too. Like, I'm a videographer first, but like I have done photo at weddings, right? And plenty of you probably have as well. Like, dude, photographers, when they have bad lighting or a bad shot, boom, black and white, black and white, black and white. This is our black and white, ladies and gentlemen. If you have a shot that's a little bit too shaky, but it's still good, throw an 8mm filter on it. You are good to go. And that is not to say that these shots are bad or anything like that. Just like, I love knowing that there is a little bit, in my opinion, and actually, guys, let me know in the comments if you disagree. I think there's more leniency when you dress it up like this, because when you look at old footage, right, what our brains go to is 8mm from, I don't know what time frame that is, 8mm, 16mm, right? Like the old school, like what my parents maybe shot on, or grandparents for sure, right? Like, it is shaky and it moves around a lot and it's in and out of focus. Like, nothing was perfect. And so I really like that. And I think that can bring you this nostalgia factor, and it can bring you this raw, like, emotion with it too. Yeah. Let your love run free. I'll fall on you. Is that Jason saying to shoot the real stuff, as in actually shoot some 8mm? Because I know that you mentioned you might want to do that. Follow me, let your love run free. Come on, let's raise the sun and make this place a home. This slide, like shots like that, I would have thrown the 8mm on it. They just begun to let your love run free. Yeah, Jason makes a good point there with the fake ones, that fake 8mm is often too sharp. I mean, there's no way to like emulate it 100%, but I love, is it Film Convert? I think it's Film Convert. It has a lot of like grain that you can add, and then you can de-sharpen a little, and I really like what they add. Dude, yeah, Jonathan, if you don't want a gimbal, like, more power to you. I think that, I don't know if you, you know, follow me, things I say a lot, but you probably know my thoughts on gimbals. I think people introduce them into their careers way too early. I think they become dependent on them. I think they become lazy basically because of a gimbal. If you don't want it, like, and you are happy with your shots and your footage, like, and your couples are, of course, too, 100% back you on that. Like, I feel like I get lazy with my gimbal sometimes, and I feel like I'm also hyper aware of that, so. I don't love that whole pan. I think you're just seeing a lot of like stuff that is ugly, like these lights and ceiling. I like your lighting on that though. The ground, like the foreground. In pain, it makes it sound. I didn't love that transition, actually. That's the first one I thought, eh. I once was lost, the one you found, so let your love run free.
I promise to always encourage you to go after your dreams.
I think there's something there that could be different. I don't know the exact solution, but I think the thing that registers with me is like when you transition into her vows or whatever, or her letter, I'm not sure what this is actually. You transitioned into that. You did fade the music out, but you did it right at like a high point of the music. And I think there's something there that could be tweaked. I don't
And bring adventure and fun into everyday life. I promise to always sing and dance around the
jump cuts, but 8mm, man. Forgiveness all around.
house and make you laugh and date you forever. Yes. I'm so glad you asked me.
I also think that the film reel noise is drowning out your audio a little bit.
You keep me strong and steady, and I'll keep you wild and free.
Cool. Sweet. All right, back to me. Yeah, so going into our 4 categories, let me just bring this down here. Perfect. Yeah, jumping into our 4 categories here. Things that I just really liked a lot of it. I think it was a really solid film. I like, again, knowing that you went out of your comfort zone, kind of, or, you tried something new and you didn't let your couple dictate it. Yeah, I want to know, I imagine that you enjoyed that. Sorry, my ears are hurting. All right. Story, yeah, I think that was pretty solid. No real complaints there. I don't know if they had like toasts or anything. I'm trying to think the audio, like all the audio added to the story. I thought it was done well. We had some nice, like, I don't know if I'd call it ambient, right? But like first look audio, good reaction, stuff like that. Yeah, your editing, I think good job. I think you tried some new stuff. I like the 8mm effect. I think it could be done a little bit, like, like Jason was saying, I think it's a little sharp. I think like I like that I don't know if this was kind of your first time experimenting with sound design. Not saying like it was bad and it was clear it was your first time, but like I don't know if that's something you typically do. I like some of the stuff that you added in there, especially in the beginning. I do think that the film reel noise was loud at the end, and maybe it was just loud at the beginning and I would have just lowered it or something, or maybe it lasted a little too long at the beginning, but you were still in that 8mm reel. So and I kind of like too starting and ending on that. I think that's cool. Your cinematography, yeah, pretty solid. I mean, there were things that I pointed out there. Editing, there were some jump cuts that bugged me, but and some skin color on a couple shots, but yeah, the cinematography was really good. I think there was some shake in some shots. There was, trying to emulate a gimbal without a gimbal in some shots, which I think can be hit or miss. It's not like it can never work. But, obviously you have a very clear understanding of exposure and, you're manually focusing, which can be really, really hard when you're handheld. And I think I saw in the comments that you were like, yeah, I'm just like camera strap, maybe a monopod sometimes. I would highly recommend, if you're going to be doing handheld and manually focusing, I would build out a rig, even if it is the tiniest rig of all rigs, just to get a like some kind of follow focus on there, because that is not only going to steady out your shot a little bit more, having more points of contact, having a little more weight, a little bit bigger, but having that follow focus that way is just going to be way better than manually focusing if that's what you're doing right now. Yeah, so you mentioned pacing there. I think it's tough because you have like this intro that works well and is, this cool. It's almost like it's like it's like you took a normal wedding film that you might normally do and you tried to make it like this new type of film, but you didn't like 1000% commit to that almost, which can be really hard. And I'm not saying that like you should even do that, but I think that's where you might find some issues with the pacing of just like, it's almost like you have kind of two types of films in one film, if that makes sense. I will also say, so I always like to point this out. I don't know what they booked you for. I don't know if you were like, I always make a 6-minute film. That's what I promised. Or like, I have a 1 song and a 2 song, and they booked a 2 song, so I had to make the 2 song. I think this is not something that was like overly long and lost my attention, but I think it could have been a little bit shorter. A lot of times you'll see me on these film reviews being like, I think you could have cut this in half, right? That's not the case here. You had a lot of solid shots, but there's just some like repetitiveness or just some like gaps where it's like, or like some shots of like reception dancing or whatever was like, I could have done with just the first sequence of them. So I don't know if that's cutting out a minute and a half, something like that. Like it is a tight film in itself, but I think it could tighten up a little bit further. Yeah, last thing, sound design. Yeah, I mentioned like the film reel noise was getting me a little bit, but I think everything else was pretty solid. Like you had some, good shots, good sound. Nothing that was like, oh, that really needed to be cleaned up or anything like that. At least not on my end. Of course, we never really like to like fully dive into sound when it's on YouTube because like it's YouTube, right? So, cool. All right, so I'm gonna get our next one queued up here. And we're about halfway through the stream now. We've got 2 more to do. So now is the perfect time to plug our amazing sponsors, YoloLive. They make the YOLO box, which you can see right here. Kodak really wants to taste it. Oh, she's going to taste it. It is dog approved. So this is an all-in-one streaming and switching device. This is probably the best option, especially if you want a small setup. If you're a 1 or 2 person wedding team and you don't want to do this full, like this setup that we're doing right here for this is big. It takes up my whole desk, right? It's a pain in the ass. I'm not going to bring this to a wedding. That would be awful for me. If I had a team of 4 or 5 people and I wanted to do this big setup and it called for it, absolutely. But if you're trying to do something a little more smaller, a little more compact, the YOLO box lets you, YOLO box lets you do that, basically live stream at a wedding. Not only for cheap, this thing's like $900 or something. It might be $800. I don't even know what it costs, but you basically pay that back in one booking, like super, super cheap. When you look at it that way, you can put 2 cameras in the HDMI here. There's also a USB. There's also an audio in, so you can run, a lav mic, a wireless transmitter into here. You can control everything on screen here. You can switch between cameras, and you basically just put a little hot shoe here, or cold shoe, and you just put that on top of your camera, back of the aisle, or wherever you want it. Or you don't have to do that. You can just put it on a table, of course, too. And you can just live stream and switch right there. It's super simple. Love this tool. I've used it at multiple weddings, and it has been great for me. If you want to get one, Jason will hit you with the link in the chat. You can at least check them out, see if it might work for you. Really cool company doing really cool things, and they're always like updating it and adding new things and stuff like that, which I really like. Yeah, I'm trying to think before we move into our next film. The only other thing, I guess I'll plug one more time, we have our memberships available on Wedding Film School. It's different than just being a subscriber, which you should be. I hope you all are. And it's different than being in our Facebook group, Wedding Film School. This is a paid membership. It's $5 per month, but you're not locked into any terms. You can just do it for a month if you want. You get some awesome benefits at that base level, including priority in these live film reviews. We also do live website critiques and pricing critiques, so you can get priority when you submit. And as you work your way up, there are different tiers available, including our top tier, which gives you just a guaranteed monthly film review. We can do it live, we can do it private and record it just like this for you and just send it to you, whatever you want, for $20. Myself, Jason, or Jared is going to review your film. We put a lot of time into that. You guys see us here. We are we're about an hour in probably right now. We're about halfway, so we're putting a ton of time into building this community and giving back to you guys. So if you want to check out our memberships, you can do that. Hit the little join button down below. Cool. Thank you, Rachel. Yes, Kodak the Puggle is her name. Well, Kodak, and she is a Puggle. and she sits on my lap at all times, and she'll just pop up when she feels like it. So, yeah, no problem, Jonathan. Definitely want to keep us posted on what you end up doing too. Dude, Jason, why you gotta do me like that, man? Like, how am I supposed to compete with a dog? All right, on to the next one. Where's my mouse? All right. This one is... Oops, I made it full screen. Now I don't see. This is from Motion Videography. I just want to pull up any notes here that we got from them. So Motion Videography, which is Max Sapien, and I probably mispronounced that. And the notes we got are... So they were going to have a destination wedding in Italy. That would have been sick, but had to cancel everything due to conditions that we are currently in. But it looks like they found you after canceling. So maybe when they decide to go local, they went with you. So you said this is a 10-minute highlight. I think it's just under 9:53 in full COVID mode. So GH5, GH4, GoPro, and Mavic. And the vacation footage is from the groom's GoPro. So I am interested to see how you incorporate that, because that can be a very fine line between ruining your video or really adding to the film. Yeah, I'm going to be very curious to see what you do with that. And you said they're a young, fun couple with an old soul. And so you did an intro that's a little more old school for them. So let's get this pulled up here. Go into this, and sorry, I gotta change it. It's on 4K, and I don't want that. You guys all deserve 4K, but I just can't give it to you right now. All right, we're rolling. Oh, another 8mm intro. Love it. I don't love that. Wait, are we going into 8mm stuff? All right, we are. I like nothing against this. I like it. I think if it works, it works. I don't love the little 3-2-1 thing, or is like 3-2. I just don't really love that. That's my personal preference. I also like, you said that they were going to get married in Italy. Oh, my chat went away. Let me just pull it up. So you kind of got that Italy feel with the music here and that like old school vibe. So I like that. I'll bet they really liked it too. And that's, maybe what's more important. Nice like slow pace. Looks like old school. What was that car in there? This all looks like maybe this was some 8mm from a while ago. Okay, so a little intro there, 40 seconds. I think this can be hard. Like, I like your logo. I think that's really cool. I personally don't like putting logos at the front. I prefer to put them at the end because I think this can like impact it can like change that emotion, right? You came from this like romantic Italian slow vibe, and then this is a more like modern logo. That's getting kind of picky, but I do like that logo. I don't really love saying presents, but whatever. That's a really cool shot. I like that. I think you said it was Mavic Air or Mavic Pro 2. I love the crosshair, slow dissolve. I like that shot. Ooh. I don't love this. I gotta be honest with you. I think... Well, I'll say a couple things. I don't like font like this anyway. It's just not what I would put in a wedding film. I think it can border on like, oh, it's a little cheesy or something, right? I don't think you're fully there. But more specifically, why I don't like it is you had your... your intro logo thing, that was one font. Then you had presents, that was a different font. And then you have this. This is a third font in a span of 10 seconds. That's just like confusing. You're giving a lot of people very different messages, mixed messages. I would change this font. I would make it smaller. Small text is in. If I have to get a magnifying glass out to read it, then maybe you charge 20 grand for this wedding. I don't know. The smaller the font, the more you charge. Everybody knows that, right? So, jokes aside, I would make it a little smaller. I would probably change the font. Yeah. Yeah, it's also hard to see this font, like, because it's like, it's this paintbrush effect, right? Or, you know, it's supposed to like be like a paintbrush. So you have these like streaks where it's like missing. So it's hard to see. I think in that intro, I can already tell you I'm going to like this shot coming up. You had like 4 drone shots. I think you could have sat on, maybe even just tighten that up and just did 1 and did it a little bit longer, or did 2 in that time frame. I think like the cross dissolve between the 2, especially from a very similar vantage point, which was like kind of up, you know, if this was the house, you were like up here, right, circling around it. I don't know if I would have included both of those. I always really like to let my drone shots kind of breathe a little bit more too, because they were cool shots, right? Like especially the first one. Now I forget the order, but there were some in there that were just like cool shots. I think you could have sat on them a little bit longer. I really like this shot though. This, you're sitting on the shot and I like it.
It takes a certain kind of person to make a 16-year-old boy think, wow, she's gonna be my wife.
All right, your audio transition there, like into like super clean audio, it sounds like. I like the shot of him. I might dive into that in a sec, but I don't love this shot. I don't love where she's positioned on the right side, very far right side of the frame, and she's looking to the right. You just got a lot of wasted space over here, and it's mostly this blown out. I don't know if that's a window or a wall or whatever. I think it's a window. It's just like wasted frame and doesn't seem intentional.
Wife. And thankfully, he agreed to.
I also hate when this is in use. I don't know how long, let's see, shoot, what was your name? Max. If you're in the chat, Max, let us know how long you've been doing this, because I'm curious. I know one thing for me, like I know if you look back at some of my films in the first handful of years, like this type of stuff is in mine. And I've gotten to this point where I just ask, I'll just be like, Kim, like, I'm about to sneeze. Woo, sorry. I got to this point where like, you know, I just feel very comfortable asking like, hey, when you're done, let's go by the window and do touch-ups there. Or if we have to fake it, we can fake it. But like, I don't want this in my shot. I want nice natural window light. I don't want her sitting where she is. I think there's only been a couple shots. So like, you know, I could be wrong, but I think what I'm envisioning this room being like, I probably wouldn't want her where she is. She seems close to a wall or to a table so that you can't get a shot of her face really. There's not natural light on her. Like I would come back and I would just like, cause the other thing too is when you have full control, right? If you're like, hey, can we go do some touch-ups by the window? You have full control. You can get everything you need in 5 minutes, you know? So,
You go on a date with me after saying no.
I like that. I like that
9 times.
Playing with her ring.
That first date changed my.
Okay. So I like your movement in this a lot. You used this, fence as this foreground. It really emphasizes that movement. The only thing I don't love about this is your dress is one of the darker points in the frame. I know it's centered, so that does save it a little bit, but the eye is going to be drawn to the brightest part of your frame, so probably that's going to be here. And once we see, oh, we're moving past it, right? This isn't important. We're going to go to this post probably and not to the dress.
Times. That first date changed my whole life. When I was younger, my father taught me how to tell if she was the one.
Yeah, I really see, like, this is really good use of that window light. Like, this is just a really nice shot. Yeah, that lighting is flattering.
He said
on his
she will be a
face.
beautiful person, inside and out.
Also, where's your mic on here? Yeah, I can't tell. Let me know. I want to know what you did for audio. Did you have a lav mic on him? If so, where is it? Is it below him here, out of frame? Is it under? I don't think that's a mic. I think that's the bow tie. I can't really tell though. Or were you like on camera or something? It sounds really, really nice.
He said she will be a beautiful person, inside and out. And have
I
a
like that. Prism shot or something like that.
kind heart. He said she will be someone who you can just sit with and talk to for hours, because that is who a true best friend is. That is exactly how we spent our first date, sitting in the mall food court after school. It was then that I knew.
This is like a very, very, like your, the letter and the music is working really well together. It's just like really gentle.
We would be standing here today. That is
Where'd you hide it? Where'd you hide the DR10? L.
why when I asked you to be my girlfriend 8 years ago, I specifically told you.
All right. Very, very good job. I'm not getting to this stuff yet. But very good job on you had him read the letter that he wrote. I'm a big stickler on that. I know sometimes it just doesn't work. I get it. But I think it's really important if you can make it happen to have them write the letter that they wrote because it makes more sense to the viewer. I would say, though, I want to see some of her opening that letter visually.
That I wanted to be with you forever.
So this, I actually don't mind this, except that like, okay, so this, it looks like your framing is different. Like this looks like a perfect square.
That I wanted to be with you forever.
Is rounded corners and it's bigger. So I would make this uniform.
Throughout the years, you have provided me so.
I like the use of it. I wonder if I want more of it there. I don't like that it's just two shots. Like it just seems like this, like we're on this wedding day and then like boom, vacation and back to wedding day. Like, I don't know. Maybe Jason will chime in. Or maybe you guys, community, chime in. Maybe I'm just wrong.
Support and encouragement.
I imagine we're going to see more of it too, but like I just wonder if it like should have been a
Be
longer
happy,
sequence.
appreciative, and headstrong to truly enjoy every day.
I think you could have faded your audio out there maybe. It looked like it just cut.
I vow to always love you, respect you, and be there for you.
That I don't love. So I don't know if you're shoot. I don't think you said what camera you were on. If this was your shot right here and it stayed like this with this focus, I'd be all about it. I think an intentional out of focus shot can totally work in a wedding film, but you're clearly trying to focus it
and be there for you.
And it's like jumpy a little bit and it never actually even gets into focus. I would cut that or use a different piece of it or something like that.
I vow to be faithful. I vow to be kind. I vow to never stop trying to make you smile.
Yes, Reese's peanut butter cups.
And I vow to book every vacation you
That's actually the only thing that you need in your purse, so that's perfect.
ask me to take. You have opened me up to a world of adventure and continue to make me question.
I actually don't love now that you've cut this framing here. Like, I really like the shot that you had before. Oh, I can see the DR10 now, which I don't care about at all. Like, for something like this, totally. It's in, doesn't really matter. But before, you had the framing, like, right here at the bottom, and then you had the top of his head. And now you've moved it down, which I don't really understand why, because it would be one thing to say, oh, well, I want to show the letter. I want to show his hands reading it, and I'm just going to show his mouth. Like, if you would have taken this another, like, whatever this is, 6 inches lower or something, and you saw the letter and you saw his mouth, or maybe you cut here or something and you were just focused on the letter, absolutely, totally makes sense. But what is the reason for cutting off the top of his head when you're not, like, the only extra thing you showed here is the microphone, which you were hiding nicely before, which, again, I don't really care about, but, like, you're cutting off his head, which isn't the end of the world if there's a purpose, but there is no purpose, basically is what I'm saying.
adventure.
All right, everybody else loves the vacation footage, so I'm a fool.
Continue to make me question how it got so
Yeah, one
lucky
thing
8 years
Jason
ago.
did bring up here, though.
You're everything I need and all I.
Yeah, some of your like skin tone on that bridal, like the bridal getting ready is kind of all over the place as far as skin tone. I know you're in some different lighting situations, but that's where like I would just like, yeah, I don't know, just like condense your time instead of spending like 30 minutes or 40 minutes with the bride of shooting her getting ready. Like, wait till she's pretty much done, do touch-ups, do them in one spot, do them with complete control. Like, that's it's an easy fix to a lot of the things that I think could have been better about your bridal shots.
I ever wanted.
I like that shot, nice flare.
You're getting so tall.
Your prism or whatever you're using is a little bit distracting here. I try to hold it a little more steady or like slowly rotate it, but it looks like you're like waving it back and forth kind of. Nice raw emotion, raw reaction.
I'm so grateful you sat down at my lunch table
The music's
8 years ago.
quick there.
I knew you liked me almost immediately because I was the only one at the table you'd share your gum with. And in high school, that's true love. Throughout the years, we have experienced some of our greatest joys and accomplishments.
Something here is off with your audio. Again, we don't like to dive too far into audio on YouTube, but I don't know if you're changing if you're changing like the volume quickly. Hers seems to be
together. But one of my favorite
quieter.
things about you, Mickey, is how you make the most ordinary days some of the happiest in my life. I always want to look for our next big adventure, but you remind me
Don't really love that
to
shot.
slow down
but
and appreciate
there's
our
some
everyday
friends.
life together.
Oh, there's like a car.
You have made me feel more loved than I ever thought was possible.
Yeah, that's another good point.
Because
Jason.
of you,
Turn off the
I
lights.
laugh, I smile, and I dream more than I ever have before. And I am truly my happiest when I am with you.
I like that shot a lot.
Right, girl. That's okay, because you're my son. You'll expect it.
Our first year together, you wrote me a letter
That's
that
really
said,
nice lighting.
as
Got that awesome like rim light, just kind of highlighting around the tops.
I'm writing this in your senior yearbook, we have been together for 185 days, a number I never want to stop increasing. And here we are, 2,850 days later, starting the rest of our lives together. My last promise to
Yes, I
you
really like
is that
this
we will never
sequence.
stop increasing that number.
If this goes in, yeah, so this is the first, okay. Wait. Your transition there with the music was really well done. I love, hitting like that low point in the song and using it to like amp up an emotional moment. I don't love that you're showing her just standing there. Like I imagine the photographer was like, hey, wait, I want to get some shots. Or you were like, hey, I need to move my cameras or whatever. I think she should be walking in this shot because I don't like it. It's maybe one of my pet peeves, but I don't like showing like that this was like staged kind of, or like it was a production, if that makes sense. I don't know. Might have misfocused a little bit on that. Okay, this is going to be a problem for me. So this makes me think that this might be your cameraman, which is a no-no. And even if it's not, you're definitely shooting, or maybe you have somebody over here. You're shooting across into each other. I would not do that. And the way I can tell is you go from this shot, right? There's also more space than I think you need over here. But let's move past that. He is on the right. She is on the left. Then you go to this shot. He is on the left. She is on the right. Just full on blowing past the 180 degree line. And then he starts walking towards the right. and your next shot, he's walking towards the left, right? So he starts walking here, walking towards the right, and then he's walking towards the left. That's not, that like takes the viewer out. So, yeah, 180 degree line. I don't know if it's something that you know, or you're saying that's the bartender. Okay. Still forgiven on that, but not forgiven on the 180. So if you're familiar with the 180 degree line, yeah, that's just a pretty big breaking of it right there. If you're not, like, look into it. It's basically how people are in relation to each other. Like, you could have had a camera anywhere on this if you drew a circle around them, right? And if this was your shot you wanted for sure, you could have a camera anywhere on this half of that circle, but not on this back half of that circle, because now they are facing the other direction in relation to each other. So you're breaking it kind of back and forth. It's really good emotion, but yeah. Oh wait, did I see your cameraman there, or camera woman maybe? Yeah, right there. Maybe. I don't know.
It looks so good on you.
Thank you.
It's just what I imagined. You like this too?
Yeah, you look great.
So you got this transition going, nice fade out from, you know, one kind of moment of the day.
You both are choosing
and
each
resetting.
other. You've chosen to be with someone.
This is like, all your drone shots were good, but I like that you're sitting on
who
this.
enhances you, who makes you think, makes you smile, and makes every day brighter. You're about to make promises to each other that you intend to keep. You're going to vow to take each other, to stand up for one another, and find happiness in the other. There's a simple premise to each of these promises. You're vowing to be here and there.
Was that car like theirs or something, or was that just part of the venue?
Each of you here today will witness the words.
That's a little trippy for me. I think that ring shot, I wish that you didn't slow dissolve here, because I think this ring shot is probably solid. It looks like your lighting is really nice on the rings. It looks like it's in focus, but I can't really ever tell because we never really get to see that ring shot. You got this like trippy like filter on it or something.
Each of you here today,
when we actually see that shot with still the filter, is more on this camera.
Will witness the words that they will speak to one another and the vows that they will make. You should take good care to remember these words, for marriage needs the help of a community of friends and a family who will be there when needed and will do all that they can during hard times to stand by Meredith and Mickey and offer their support to them and the new family that they created today.
All right. What is this camera? Tell me. Is this the groom's GoPro again? You can be honest with me. No, I'm kidding. But this is definitely a different camera or something. This looks very different to me.
I give you this ring.
With all that I am.
And all that I will ever be.
Wear it and know that I love
think you could like blend that audio a little bit better. If you're kind of cutting from one mic to another or something like that, or cutting in and out.
I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Nice use of music there. We definitely got that underneath there. Don't love these shots. It's too much. Yeah, it definitely looks a little bit different. I don't know if that's just because it's the low light or if you didn't use it in any other part of the film, but you can definitely tell. So that could be an exposure thing, a low light thing, or a color thing, or kind of a mix of all of them. But I see it later here too. And
it's so funny now when I think about playing hockey.
So audio here, there's
we hear
something.
Nose Chell. Woo! And we were just in our basement,
Okay,
and his phone would just keep on vibrating.
It's definitely
like, bro,
something
it's overtime. We're gonna lose. Stop dropping the controller. But it would have helped if
A little
I
bit
knew
tinny.
it was his
Is
future
that the
wife at the
Insta mic?
time.
Is that the Insta mic right there? And is that what you're using for your audio source? I would like to know.
Because we lost overtime. But after today, it's okay.
Here, I think your focus is on this wine glass or this candle. I think you missed the couple, but I know for sure you missed the bride, and that's the where you want your focus to be. Forget the groom, the bride only, man. If you got to pick, focus on the bride. But definitely not the candle. Some good like emotion in the dancing footage. I like that. That was like a jump cut, I think. Your angle was like almost the same. So you're like here, and you're cutting to like what is almost the same. I don't know if this is the same angle, but it looks the same because the shot before was also like a blue-ish lights up here. So it looks like a jump cut. I don't know if you're intentionally being really off horizon here. I think it can work. This might be a little extreme, but all right, so I think you had a light here. I think you could have also benefited from having a light on the front of them. Maybe not going low, because you're now shooting up at them. It's not as flattering, and now you're going to move back up. I like this ending shot. Yeah, Muhammad, I'm going to actually address that specifically because there is an important fact that you need to know, and I love talking about this. So we're going to jump right into that. Muhammad said this video is long and it's dragging a bit, and I do kind of agree. I think there is some filler shots in there. I never like to have shots. Let me go back to my face-only live stream. I never like to have shots that are in there because I need to hit a time frame. And one of the things that I think, if this is your first couple years, one of the things that you're going to learn, and one of the things that I think is really important to learn, is that you are the professional. And, you know, we all have to walk this fine line of making money and making the best film. But yeah, I mean, so this is a film where I would say, I know you said that you knew it was COVID, it was going to be smaller, it was going to be low key, whatever. Like, that's a thing where I would go in, and even if they had booked me for a 10-minute edit, I might say, hey, look guys, I just want to let you know, I might come out of your wedding thinking that a 7-minute or a 5-minute edit is going to be much better. Just given that it's smaller, given that there's not as many events going on, whatever. Like, I want to make you guys the best film, and I am only going to work with people who trust me anyway. Not like I would say that there, but like, I'm not going to book somebody who's not just into me making them the best film possible. And so if this is after the fact and things have changed or whatever, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, you know, hey, I'll make you a 10-minute film if that's what you want. But in my opinion, and I've done a lot of these, I think that, you know, we might be better off making you guys something that's a little bit shorter. I think it's going to be a little more impactful just because it is smaller or whatever. Not that you maybe knew that for sure beforehand, or maybe after you say something like that. And obviously, like, so I think I've said this before, I have no issue, and, you know, you guys might disagree with me, but I have no issue doing that. Like, I would rather make a better film, and if that means I lose a little bit of money, I don't know. I mean, maybe for the right couple, it doesn't matter. Maybe if it's something I know I'm not going to really market anyway, then it doesn't matter. But especially if it's a wedding that I know is going to just like really rock and I want to make the best thing possible, I have no issue in saying that and refunding a little bit of money or something like that. That's just me. Yeah. But yeah, so let's jump into your story. I think your story was pretty good. I really liked his letter. I didn't like some of the shots associated with it. Her letter was solid too. I liked some of the transitions that you did. Not the transitions themselves, but how you kind of broke the day and broke the story up. Your editing, I think that might be where you like none of it was bad. But I think there were definitely things like some of the color stuff. I think just in general having more shots than what you know, maybe like, but again, if they bought a 10-minute film, you have to hit 10 minutes. I get that too. Some of the transitions, you know, the fades, I didn't like the cross dissolves. I mean, I didn't always love. So I think there is some room for improvement in the editing, but I mean, you clearly have a grasp. I don't know. Actually, you're in here, so let me know how long have you been shooting weddings? Because like that obviously makes a difference. If this is something that you made and it was like your first wedding, then like you're killing it. If this is something like, oh, I've been doing this for 20 years, then I don't know. Like it's not like bad or anything like that. It might be your style or anything like that. But yeah, I think the editing like is somewhere where you could editing and cinematography and a little bit of sound, but editing and cinematography, I think like there were some cinematography things I pointed out, the 180-degree line. I don't know if you want to call that cinematography or editing. It's kind of both because you chose to shoot it that way, and then you also used it in the edit. Yeah, stuff like that. And then sound, I think there was one point where I said it was quiet. It was like the pastor talking. But your other stuff was really good. Like his letter sound was really good. There was some stuff where like you were just hard cutting the audio, I think, a little bit, and I think you could fade that out a little, fade it in, stuff like that, or like throw a little bit of room tone under when you're going, like when he talks and then there's like a 2-second break and then he talks again from his letter, throw some room tone so you never have to like lose that, so it's not like you can hear a little like voice and room tone and whatever, and then it's just nothing, and then voice and room tone again. Okay, yeah, second season, so like you're killing it, man. Like weddings aren't easy, right? And I'm sure you're learning a lot, and I'm sure you're expanding your editing and everything too. But I mean, it's still really good. Yeah, I think that was all the categories. Thank you so much for submitting. I loved watching it. I hope some of that stuff was helpful. We've got one more for you. Dun, dun, dun. Get it queued up here. Make sure it's in 1080. All right, so this one is from where is it? You guys are submitting now, which is awesome, but you're throwing off my stuff. So this is from James Lee from MN Studio, which when I saw it, I was like, sweet, MN Studio, Minnesota. Awesome. I can't wait to review it. It's not Minnesota. You're based in the UK somewhere. So, because I'm in Minnesota. So I think this, let me just make sure. You said Panasonic S1H. Yep. And the Panasonic S5. That's all I got from you. As far as details. Now, one thing I'm going to just note, I know we had a little bit of interaction with this over email. When I could not find the music that James had licensed, and I know he was really pumped on getting this reviewed, so like many thanks to him for doing this, but he went in and he reworked it to some other music, so I will probably comment on that just because it's worth commenting on maybe, but just so everybody knows, like this was like reworked a little bit, and I think that's just important to know. Cool, let's get this full screen. Let's jump over to this, and we are going to jump in.
True love to me is
really like that drone shot.
Every morning waking up.
Wait till it ends. Okay, so 3 seconds or so. I really like it. I think you could have even maybe let it breathe a little bit longer. Like it's just a really nice shot. The color was really nice on it. It's like these are like perfect rows of trees. Got like the sun, like the like faded sunlight. Yeah, it looks really nice.
Is every morning waking up with Clara.
Also, your audio is really clear.
I make a toast to my dad, who I know would have absolutely loved Clara.
I don't love having. I think if you could have locked down the shot, that would have been nicer. If you throw it on a tripod or something.
Oh crap!
Also, having a light. I mean, like, you know, I get it. And also, look, you're in the UK. I don't really know what standards are. Like, oh, you might tell me, oh, if I show up with a light, like, I'm going to get kicked out of there. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But it would have been nice because you see some of this like lighting on his face. That's all these like little hot spots. I think there's probably some kind of like chandelier up here that's hitting his face, and it's just like this uneven lighting, and a light would have probably overcame that a little bit.
Oh crap!
But really nice like emotion. I really like that drone. Your drone shots are nice. So this right here, I really like the lighting here is cool. I would have focused though on his hands or his wrists. Right now you're focused on his belt buckle basically. And I would have moved those hands or wrist, back 3 inches here so that they were in the light.
I know that we'll have
like right there basically, but I would have moved over a little bit to the left and started the shot.
many more tears, but also lots of fun and laughs together, and I really can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you. So, my final toast, and I'll sit down and stop crying, to Clara.
You're don't love dissecting audio too much on YouTube, and like I'm live streaming and all this stuff. But your audio might be, you guys can let me know if you see this too. Your audio might be a couple frames off. Also, I'm trying to see here. So you have your mic here, but you've got the cord on the outside. So it's a minor thing, but tuck that in. Move that around here. Clip the mic on this side right here on the inside of the lapel. I mean, you can have it on the outside, but have it clipped here, and then run this cable onto the inside of his jacket, hide that cable. I don't really care about hiding the mic that much. It is what it is. But the cable. And then Jason's bringing up a good point that I want to also say, especially this where I noticed it big time was on the shot of her getting prep. Yeah, your whites are pretty blue. Like her skin is pretty, like it could be warmed up.
I really can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you. So, my final toast, and I'll sit down and stop crying.
So yeah, like this was locked down. I like this. I think you had another camera maybe floating over here, but that light would have been nice too. You could even bounce that light off this wall. It'd be like a big reflector.
To Clara.
I would maybe use, so like this I really liked. This shot is kind of what I wanted in that other shot. If you had a different shot, especially one that was wider and maybe showed his face, maybe a silhouette, a medium shot, a wide shot, something like that of him getting ready, I think that I would have replaced the first shot with that and then used this shot here because I like this one better and they're very similar shots. Some nice venue shots. Okay, so yeah, we're going to jump into music. That music transition there seemed pretty like abrupt. I know that you changed the music, so like I'm not going to dive into it too much. Yeah. Oh wait, am I gonna get claimed for this, man? If you get me claimed, I'm gonna be mad. I don't think I licensed this song.
Clara, you look absolutely amazing today. You look
All right,
beautiful
so this
to me.
seems quiet. Okay, wait. His audio seems quiet here, but I really like this shot. This looks like a painting. I really like the lighting. I really like just how, I really like this shot. This is really cool. Like, this is one of those shots I feel like where, it's a goal of mine and it never happens, right? Like, it just never happens for me, but this is a goal of mine where, like, I want to be able to be playing and then hit pause on any frame of my wedding films and be like, and just take in that frame almost as a photo and be like, wow, that is just a well-framed, well-composed, well-lit, well-executed, beautiful frame. And that's what this frame is. I really like this.
But today especially, you look unreal.
Got some out of focus shots. This might be a little bit too many in a row. The other thing too with this is like, I don't think there's anything wrong with out of focus here, but it seems like everything's out of focus. I don't see anything back here that screams in focus and sharp to me. So I think that's a little bit of an issue with this shot specifically. A nice simple dress shot. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, I always love getting an epic dress shot, but look, I have films, even films that I promote sometimes, but definitely films I don't really promote or market. The dress shots are just fine, and that's okay. You know, it happens. But it's solid, right? It's like, I don't have some epic tree to hang it up in that's overlooking a volcano, right? But it's still a solid shot. Don't know about that. Timed really well with the music. I will give you that. I don't know if that transition fits your edit. That's too much out of focus for me and really sideways. And then, so, okay, you're doing these, like, speed ramps. I don't know. I don't think it fits your edit so far. Especially because it started out so emotional. I don't mind this music. I don't think this... you changed the music, I guess. So, I think the music fits. That's not my issue. But these speed ramps I don't think fit. And this one especially, it looks like he has like a jitter in his hand. That's actually... I kind of like that with the veil like being... I think I would warm that shot. Okay, so this is the same shot you used before. I mean, you already used it, so that's why I would say I wouldn't do this again. I don't mind like where she's in front, but like you pan over to him and he's out of focus the whole time. So like the second half of the shot doesn't make sense. That's a really cool shot. I think that speed ramp actually kind of works. But I think you're... Yeah. But, I think been fighting with the river. Okay, so you've got some flash in here. If you want to talk about photographer's flash and how it's annoying and you want to take it out, you actually need to direct that directly to Jason. You can PM him. He loves to discuss that with people. No, he hates that. But with that said, the flash, I don't think that's that big of a deal. But you have the LED or the string lights, something, and they're flickering big time. I don't know if you caught that while you were shooting, and maybe could have tried changing your frame rate, or your shutter speed, sorry, or maybe your frame rate also, depending, to compensate for that. Otherwise, this is another scenario where it wouldn't totally fix it, but having a light would help. It's also maybe a scenario where it is what it is, and we've all been there. And blinded by the storms, this is pretty cool. But I can see the flicker. Or just like, it's not blue, but just like it could be warmed up. Like her skin is so pale and white. From underneath the door. I really like this shot. The only thing I don't like about this shot, well, one, I think your focus is actually off in this one. I think you're a little further behind them, like back here. But the only thing which can be hard with that sun flare, it can be hard to pull focus. Yeah, except like this looks in focus to me, or like these grass blades here. The only thing, the only thing that I don't love about this is like, I actually think your horizon is straight, right, back here. But the way this hill is just makes me be like, oh, your horizon's off. That was my first thing. I was like, oh, you're way tilted, but you're actually not. But it like plays tricks with your head. I'm ready for a life where nothing holds me back. Oh, I want to know that logo there, is that their shot similar to one earlier? So yeah, I'm not going to comment too much on the music because I know you changed that again. Yeah, I really liked that. I'm also curious, what is that for you? I didn't get too much info from you, but like, yeah, like what is that? Like, it's like it's 2.5 minutes, right? So like, is that the highlight? Like, is that the only thing they get, or is it like a teaser? Because I think you're in here too. So yeah, James, hit me with what that is, kind of like what that product is, if that makes sense. Let me know if you need me to clarify that question. I know you guys are kind of on a delay in the chat, or maybe vice versa. but I guess what I would say is that if that is like the highlight film, if that's like what they get, that's their main thing where most of the work goes, right? Like maybe they get like a ceremony or reception film or whatever. The ending just left me wanting more. Like this was a solid film. It kept me engaged. But if you're going to end it at 2.5 minutes, okay, so it's a teaser. So reverse. A teaser I would make shorter. This is approaching of like my highlight films are 3.5 minutes. I have 3.5 to 4 minutes, and I have 7 to 8 minutes. So like you're approaching that 3.5 minute mark, right? You're a minute short. I think a teaser should be shorter. I think a teaser should be 60 seconds or less. Maybe it feels like a weekend event a little bit longer, right? But like, I don't know. There's something at the end that just that leaves me wanting more. It seemed like it was just like kind of going, and then it just kind of ended. So I think that could be some kind of like, especially because you used audio earlier, some kind of like culminating audio, or again, the music can play a big role in that. I know you changed the music, so that could play a role in that too. But yeah, that's just a thought. But that was like, there were some things I really loved about that. I know there were some things that I said like, oh, this could be changed, whatever. I just saw in the comments, can you just confirm that was your first wedding? Because that's awesome. Like, killer job for a first wedding. It also looked like pretty low key. Like you probably had a lot of control and like time throughout the day, which is a really like nice and really good job with that. So let's go into story. I think you started out with a really strong story. You had this really emotional audio, and like visually you were telling a good story. There were a couple things I said, like the speed ramps, I didn't really love, but especially if it's your first wedding, like you're figuring out where you fall on that stuff and what you want to do for that stuff. But the story was pretty good, except that I think there wasn't really an ending. There was kind of like this intro and kind of this middle and this like ramp up, and then it just kind of was like, oh, and it's done. Your editing, I didn't love. Like I said, I didn't love some of the things you chose to do, but the editing was well done. Your color grade, like I really liked a lot of your colors. Your shot choice was pretty good. There were no like, jump cuts or, stuff like that. Like there wasn't any like major things. Like I know some of the focus, a couple shot choices I had some questions on, stuff like that, but it was pretty good. Your cinematography, solid. There was nothing that screamed like, there were things that I would have done different. I mentioned lights. I mentioned locking down that first time that you showed the groom. Some focus things, some focus choices, stuff like that. But like, again, especially for being your first wedding, like really solid stuff. You definitely know what you're doing. You definitely have a good grasp of it. And sound. I think there was one point where the groom was talking and it sounded low. It was actually during that really nice shot that I like, that really epic wide shot. I have an affinity for wide shots, just so everybody knows. If you want to impress me, just give me your film with the best epic wide shots with negative space. But yeah, the rest of the audio was pretty solid. I know you didn't have like a ton of audio in there, but sometimes that's just the way it is, like sometimes we don't have tons of audio to work with. So really good job on that. Yeah, cool, guys. Well, I think, oh, nice. You got some lights. Sick. Love it. I'm excited to see what you guys, everybody who submitted, like, submit again. You guys killed it. Jason will hit you guys actually at the very top of the chat, too. You can see, I think it's pinned. If you guys want to submit a film for review, follow the link. Jason will hit you with the link as well. We do these every single week. So starting right now, or starting when this stream started, you could start submitting for next week. We'll also be hitting you guys with some reminders in the Wedding Film School Facebook group. If you're not part of that, go ahead and join. It is an awesome group with tons and tons and tons. What are we at? Like 15, 20,000 people in there. We've got tons of people in there. People who are brand new. We have people in every part of the world. And we have people who have been doing this for 20 years. Like we have everybody, and everybody is super thoughtful and helpful in there. What was I going to say? Yes, other than that, many thanks once again to YoloLive, who sponsored this video. They make the YOLO box. You can check them out. Jason will hit you with a link for that in chat. The YoloBox live streaming device, really small, really easy to set up and use for live streaming weddings or events or anything else like that, conferences, whatever. Only sets you back like $800 or $900, I think. So you're going to make that back in basically one booking. And then, yeah, last but not least, if you guys are interested in becoming a member of Wedding Film School, you can check out our memberships. Just hit the join button. If you click it, you're not automatically joined, but that will show you the different tiers. Starts at $5, and it gives you priority in getting your films reviewed for just $5. And at the top tier, which is only $20, we guarantee you a monthly review, and we can do it privately if you would prefer. And then we've got our coaching options as well. You can check that out. It was linked earlier. It's on our website, weddingfilm.school. So you can check out coaching if you want some one-on-one time, and we will go over anything you want. Other than that, guys, many thanks to you guys for being here. We love doing this. We love what this does for our community. We love giving back to this community, giving our time, making sure we're jumping in and connecting with you guys at least once a week. We love when you guys are here too. So we hope that you guys learned something, especially those of you who did have your films reviewed. If you didn't have your film reviewed, submit it for next week. But whether or not you have your film reviewed, join us next week. We'll be posting in the Facebook group with the time and the day. But it's always a fun time. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream, and I will see you guys next week.